As part of iHeartMedia's commitment to the communities we serve, we're showcasing the leaders and companies that are driving our regional economy. Our CEO to know today is Wil Buchanan with Philantech3. Wil, it's nice to have you here.
Thanks for having me, Teresa.
Philantech3.
Yep, Philantech3.
Okay. It's like philanthropy.
Yeah, philanthropy plus technology plus 3 core values. It's a made-up word.
Tell us about the company. What do you do?
So primarily, we're a technology consulting company. We help people focus on keeping their businesses running. There's a lot of cybersecurity threats out there and just business disruptions. And so one of our main goals is to take business headaches away from business owners so they can focus on actually running their companies.
Mm-hmm. So a little bit more in depth about what that involves.
So we focus a lot on systems and trying to proactively identify things that stop the flow of business. What we found is that the most expensive thing for a business is when that flow of business stops. And so we spend a lot of time just trying to figure out proactively what could stop the business and then put plans in place. And so our goal is that a client of ours would actually have a stronger flow of business, that they would have fewer disruptions.
So you may go in for a short amount of time, depending on what they need, or you may be with a business for a length of time?
Yeah, so everything we do is contract-based, so it's all agreement-based. We don't really do any project work where it's just a one-off deal. Most of what we do, or all of what we do, is just on an ongoing monthly basis.
Mm-hmm.
And
so
long engagements.
You've had the business now since 2002?
Yeah, it started in 2002, and it was at that point just really a side project for me. And in 2004, I went full-time, and it was just me working from my kitchen table. So.
And is this your passion behind this business?
It is. Yeah, it really is. And I think it one of the things that I've enjoyed over the years is just really, I'm not super involved in the day-to-day technology anymore, but I do spend a lot of time just working with other business owners, helping them, not even so much with technology, but just business processes and helping them identify things that could disrupt their business.
Mm-hmm. Once they identify, or I imagine in most cases, they can't even identify what exactly is going wrong. So that then they give you a call?
They do, and a lot of it comes out. We do a lot of just quarterly conversations where we'll sit down and it's really, we've got kind of a process where we say this is what should be keeping you up at night, because a lot of times we don't even know the threats that face us, and so we spend a lot of time just out in the marketplace trying to help identify some of these things and just putting plans in place. And then the other thing that we look for is a lot of times as small business owners, we lack even the language to describe the problems that we're having. And so we look a lot for just symptoms. And most small businesses that fail for certain cash flow reasons, really. And so we spend a lot of time just helping businesses identify those crunches. And so I spend a lot of my time doing that. So we do the technology stuff, but we also do a lot of business consulting.
Why did you delve into that side of it with helping the small businesses that were struggling? It doesn't really seem like initially it was a piece of what you were doing. No,
that's exactly right. And so it was kind of a long journey, but along the way, I just decided that I didn't know enough about business to be running my company. And I made a really good move right in the first few years of business and hired a really good accountant. And I think that was amazing. And he just really had the heart of a teacher and spent a lot of time with me trying to understand the ins and outs of business. And that wasn't my background. But I think through through the years, I really saw the importance of knowing that. And so I went on to just started studying it. At that point, I didn't have even an undergrad degree in business or technology. And so I just started taking night classes and trying to figure out business. And so I was able to finish my undergraduate degree in business and then went further. And actually, I graduate with my graduate degree next month. So just really been a passion for me to learn how businesses work.
And then taking that passion and helping other businesses.
exactly.
along the way. And quite often you do that for free.
We do, and that's the philanthropy side. We will identify just businesses in the community, and they don't even need to be clients. And so once we identify these people, I'll definitely work with them, and we've got a group that we meet with once a month, and it's just small businesses that are struggling and trying to get through some stuff, and we help them, and that's the philanthropy side of what we do.
And why do you feel the need to do that?
First of all, it's I think that anyone in small business that's been in small business for more than a day knows the fear that comes just knowing that you've got payroll due the next day, or you've got these financial burdens, or you're wondering even if you're doing the right things, and it's terrifying. And so one of the things that we do, and this has just become a passion for our whole team, is just having that empathy. We've been through those things, and we feel intimately what that process is, and so that's, I think, what fuels it.
Talk a little bit more about your team and that concept. Yeah, I like the way you say team.
Mm-hmm. So one of our core values is synergy, and it's based on the fact that together we're so much stronger than just one of us, and really we have that core value as of synergy, just because without that cohesive, that trust, the ability to be vulnerable in a team setting, we really don't feel like a business can succeed. And so everything we do is around just building team, and it's a pretty amazing feeling to be part of something that's bigger than yourself, that's accomplishing amazing things.
And yet you're still the leader of that team. So you need to inspire and motivate.
So I am the leader of the team, but I am a servant leader. And so what that means is that my whole job in our organization is to make sure that everyone on the team has the tools that they need. So we've got a saying in the company, I am a boss with a little b, not a boss with a big B. And there is a difference.
Get into that a little bit more and say, about your leadership role.
So in leadership, there's the potential to use positional authority to just say, you need to do this, Teresa, because I'm your boss. And once we exercise that positional authority, we've really lost that synergy that comes with team. So the other way to look at it is just to say, Teresa, these are the objectives that we're trying to accomplish. This is your role in the company. What can I do to help you meet your objectives and role? And so once we do that, the trust just goes through the roof, and all of a sudden you've got this synergy that's just amazing. And so one of the things I had to do early on is just recognize if there's a bottleneck or a problem in the company, it is me, 100%. And it's hard for some business leaders to recognize that they're the problem.
Wow, it's such an interesting approach, and I don't hear it very often from other leaders, the way you approach that. Is that something you learned growing up, from family, or sort of hit and miss along the way?
I don't know exactly. I think it's always been part of another one of our core values in the company is just being kind. And I think a lot of it just comes from maybe it never really felt great to me to boss people around or to be that
it's not
guy.
Who you are.
It's not. And so I think it's just something that I identified early on, that we need to be kind, and we need to serve other people. And it's something just from a religious background and from growing up as a kid, that's been my experience and the example set for me.
Now, with the technical side of your business, boy, that is just changing. And you can wake up one morning and things are completely different than they were the day before.
Yeah.
How do you keep up with that pace?
That's, I think, one of the biggest challenges and this is just in business in general. How do you keep up with the pace of change? Because it is staggering. One of the ways that we've done that, and I think we do it pretty well, is that we're a role-based company. So, for instance, I do not run our cybersecurity team. I oversee it at a really high level, but we've got someone that's his entire world is living in cybersecurity. he knows things that I'm 5 years behind, and it's because it's not my role. And what we identified early on is it's so with any type of knowledge-based work, there's so much to know that if we don't dedicate a role to that and just say, this is your world, keep the team up to speed as much as we need. But there's no way that one person can do that. And as business leaders, until we recognize that, we're going to be this massive bottleneck in our flow of knowledge within our teams until we're able to actually trust people and build them and say, this is your world.
Talk about the business climate for you and working in the Inland Northwest and the Spokane area.
Yeah, so there's a lot of great business leaders in this area, just really some powerhouses. And I'm not sure if we've got a concentration of that, but it seems like we do. One of the things that we've noticed is that there's a lot of small businesses in this area, and I'll even call them micro businesses. And so it's we've got almost a spirit of adventure in this area where we want that freedom of going out and running a business. And so I think that just that, maybe it's the Inland Northwest or whatever, the wild, wild West here, but it's where we find a lot of people in this area willing to take amazing leaps.
And you've found your spot within them or among them and working with them.
I hope so. We've it's always, we want to get the message out to more people, obviously, but yeah, it's the people that we have come in contact. We've definitely felt blessed to be in contact with them.
Mm-hmm. What are we lacking? Anything that you need as a business that we could boost for Spokane?
So, yeah, it's kind of an interesting deal. I'm not sure what the fix is for it, but I do feel like the homeless problem has become. It used to be something years ago that was centered really around maybe a block or two downtown, but our office building is up on the north side, and we've just seen really over the last 5 years just a massive swing of homeless people, and so I think that it makes it a little more difficult to do business in this area just to attract investors. I think if there was one thing that I would ask for help from community leaders is just a little more, a little help with that. And just to back that up, we spoke with a realtor in Coeur d'Alene, just kind of looking at that area a little bit, and their homeless population it's so small compared to ours. And she made the comment, we don't have a homeless problem because we send them all to Spokane. And I think that's common in this region is we've got some programs in this area that make it maybe a little more interesting or easier to live here and be homeless. And so it's not an easy fix, and I wouldn't even try to simplify it. It's just something that would help as we try to build the business environment just to get a little community.
Yeah, is that a conversation you'd like to be a part of?
I would. Yeah, I would. And it's not. I think there's a lot of kindness that needs to be there. I think we've got a lot of mental health problems and I think the opiate problem is really becoming an epidemic here, and so it is a big problem, and it's not something that we can just solve overnight. But I do think it's a conversation worth having.
Mm-hmm. Well, you seem to have a passion for the community as well. You're homegrown.
Yes.
Grew up in Spokane.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah. So pretty much lived here my entire life, either on the South Hill or out north of Spokane by Elk Chatteray area. So yeah, definitely have a passion for the mountains and the rivers and lakes, and it's an amazing place to be. And
now you have a large family.
Yeah, we have a
You're
big
raising
family.
Your family here.
Yep, six children. So yeah, we love it here and good to be part of the community.
Are you able to strike the balance between running a business and being a family, a dad and a husband, and finding some leisure time as well?
Yeah, I think that's the challenge for any small business owner, is that there will never be a day when you get to the end of the day and you say, good, I'm done. I can walk away and because I'm done. It just never does that. And so it's so important that we learn proper delegation and we learn team building and the ability to actually loop in other people to the work that we have to do. Otherwise, what we do is we end up just owning a job. And I think that every small business owner or everyone in the community knows someone that owns a job. And it's horrible, and it's a trade-off that you don't want to make. You don't want to get to age 80 and say, I owned a job, and I sacrificed my family, and I sacrificed everything that I believed in to work 80 or 90 hours a week. And so one of the things when we're working with our small business leaders is we just talk about that. It's okay. Friday, if it's at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you have to feel zero guilt for leaving. Just leave. The work is going to be there on Monday. Don't come in on Saturday or Sunday. Just do what you can. And it's
that's a tough one.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
It's so hard. But the opportunity cost of not doing that is living with just crushing regret, and no one wants that.
Well, Will, it's been a pleasure getting to know you and learning more about your company. It's Philantech3.
Yes.
Philantech3.
Yep, Philantech3. We'll answer to anything.
By the time we're done, I'll get this down.
Yep.
But, Will, it really has been a pleasure getting to know you. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Teresa, for having me.